Welcome to Simply Sheppey, your community podcast which aims to create and enhance connections within the community to build a better Sheppey.
Welcome to the podcast, Nikki
Hello.
Hart.
Yes.
From NDH Productions, NDH.
Yeah, or Nikita-Dean Hart Productions.
Nikita-Dean Hart,
yeah.
yes.
NDH is fine.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So we met through Sheppey Business Network.
Yes.
Down the island. I was going around. Actually, no, we met through Andrew, who connected us.
Yes.
And then we realised that we had seen each other down at Sheppey Business Networking. So you do videography and marketing.
Yeah.
How did you get into that? Give us a bit of a background and introduce yourself.
Okay. So NDH Productions is a video production company based on the Isle of Sheppey, but I cover all of Kent, and some of my services, like remote editing services, allows me to work with businesses up and down the country or even globally. I started the company in 2019 after I graduated university in TV and film production. So I was supposed to go down one direction. Well, but even before that, when I was in college, I did music. So that was one direction. And then I went down in to do media instead, and then university. And then found it hard to get into the TV and film industry as it is. It's who you know.
Yeah.
And you always start from a runner and sort of work your way up. So I ended up freelancing for the first couple of years. I set up as a sole trader, and then worked in London and in Kent as a freelance videographer, editor, and a photographer, even though I wouldn't say I'm a photographer. And then really wanted to start the business, and ended up working with people at other businesses to do work for them. So the kind of work that I was getting into was marketing. So that's just what I've been building over the last nearly 4 years, next month.
Because the video's part of it, isn't it? It's like the bigger picture is marketing, because you're getting the message out. Because
it's a marketing tool, video.
Yeah.
And it's a piece of the puzzle. It's not, sometimes people have heard a lot about video, and small businesses in particular have been implementing video into their marketing strategies. But it's very much important to see it as a tool in marketing and make sure that other areas of marketing are in place as well. That's what I found.
So come back to you. So you was starting to freelance and working with other companies. Mm-hmm. So was that just like a job and knock type thing? You get like a day rate and you'd help them on their projects? Yeah,
essentially, yeah. I'd be paid a rate, and I'd ask to be coming maybe for the week or just here and there. So my availability is all over the place, and that's the thing with being a freelancer, is that you're waiting for someone to hire you as just filming, just editing, and you could be working on a project for a while, so you think, oh, it's pretty good, but you're not in control of getting any clients or liaising with clients or there's creativity involved, but so much more with what I do now, whereas I can be in control of putting stuff on social media, going out there, networking, and meeting clients and getting work that way.
Yeah, it's funny. I think teachers that end up moving up into like headmistresses jobs, they come away from teaching, so they only get maybe 5 or 10% teaching, whereas when there was a teacher, they got 90% or 80%. And it's that when you're working for someone else doing editing, you don't get the creativity. You're told to do this, and you're doing the mechanics of it versus getting the creative element of it, which is, I think, when we come back down to like purpose and stuff like that, you find that there's more fulfillment in the creative aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So what point did you get your first like paid gig or start getting your own work?
Around 2020, I think. And then, but obviously we were in COVID then, so I wasn't doing much, and I probably only had a few clients who were filming their own projects from home, and I was editing them. And that's still something I do, and I still work with the same people today.
Yeah.
And that's really good. I have a lot of returning clients. I've worked with some of the same people for quite a few years. But it really started to kick off in 2021 when we was coming out of lockdown. I was able to go out and film stuff then. So it just really been building since then.
At what point did you move to the island? Because you're not from Sheppey, are you?
No, I'm from... I've always lived in Kent. I grew up in Rainham and then moved to Sittingbourne. We went to the school. When I went to secondary school, and moved to the island, I think around 2017. Yeah.
Good. So what exactly, if you was to explain it to people, and this could be linked, I've got two questions. What exactly do you do? Because video, is a part of it. And then the next one is your ideal client, sort of who do you work with?
Mm-hmm. So in my work, there's different ways that I can help people. So it is video production. So it's working with businesses to create social media content or videos for their website. So I am the main videographer and editor. So I'd go in with all of my equipment or plan everything beforehand, come in and film it, and then I predominantly edit the videos. And we can be creating a full online course. We can spend a whole day filming all sorts of different types of content for different platforms. It really depends, and I always get to know businesses really well before I start working with them to make sure that I'm creating video for their right platforms as well.
It is. Yeah. When you look into it, so I've got involved in doing marketing for me, and then for me with coaching clients, that they get involved in it, and it's a massive industry, and it's like how long's a piece of string? And when you get into it, it's like a rabbit hole of how far you go.
Yeah. From
that generating leads. I've got clients that have systems where people make direct phone calls to people from lists about getting connections, and then they do their Instagram posts and their social media stuff. Then they do some videos and post it, and there's a whole wide range of the marketing stuff and picturing that. So that creativity, you get involved in that as well, in helping them. So if someone came to you and said, I'm an electrician and I want to market my business, do you take them through a process of what and how to create that video? Or
depends. If we're just talking about the video side, then I will try my best with the knowledge that I have and the experience that I have to work with them. But if they are, for instance, really looking to boost and they really want to hit a target, or they want to create some social paid ads, for example, which I can create the video for, but then it might be worth collaborating with others. So someone that runs social media ads, they know the formula, they know how to manage it, they know what to do with the money, then I would bring someone in. But yeah, I have worked with clients really closely on advising them on their social media. I've done a little bit of auditing for people's social media.
Yeah.
And just giving people advice as well. When people come to me and they ask, when it comes to video or just social media in general, then I do give a bit of advice and consult them on it.
Because this links into us and the Sheppey Business Networking. So we talked about maybe setting up, for anyone down at Sheppey Business Networking, a marketing brainstorming where we start to talk about videoing and the sort of things that it can do to develop and help the business. There's another lady down that does the websites and coming up with a story, branding and aligning with the clientele you want to get to. Where are they? Is it LinkedIn? What platform it's on? There's a whole host of social media stuff in there.
There is, and it's something that is so intertwined with what I do. And I kind of struggled with this in the last couple of years ago. I was like, well, how far should my service be going? Because it is digital marketing and it can go so much further. And should I take the videos and measure the success or help them do social media ads? But really what my service is just video production. That's what I focus on. Creating the content is what I specialise in. And actually there's more of a benefit to, rather than try to do lots of different things, collaborate with people who, like me, this is my expertise. collaborate with people who that is their expertise, and we can work really well together.
Yeah, so for me in business coaching, I have to create what I call straight lines. So there should be a system. So we have a system for doing the podcast, and we put your logo up on the screen. So that's written down, or it will be, but that's the formula. So then I can coach people on working to it. And I think with you, the videos, they've got to have a story or that marketing story and branding. So then you can create content to that, because without it, it's like we just create a video, okay?
Yeah.
And then you need some structure. So it's a bit like writing. I'm writing a book at the moment. To have some structure in, what do they need to know? Who are they for? How can they help? It's like the questions that we have on here, It's
exactly, because that's the thing. Sometimes when I work with businesses, it's best if they have so many of those things in place. They've got a good website. They know who their audience is. They know what their branding is, what their brand message is, and they know how to communicate that. Otherwise, it might not be the right stage at this point to create video for them. And I always want to make sure that I am honest about that, and never just creating a video for a company that I'm like, that's not going to do well anyway. But rather work with them and sort of see if they're ticking off that list, that they've got everything to work with, so that the video can actually work and boost the business. And then the systems that they've got in place will help boost the video and work with the video as well. Branding, getting the colours across, the fonts, and everything that I put into the style of the video. It's got to feel unique and be able to reflect a brand that's quite solid.
Yeah, and it's because I think this is important, because it's like a director and an actor transforming a book into a story and taking that person to get them to that point where it becomes emotional, it becomes aggressive, or it becomes scary. Like without the right writing and the right context, you won't get the right outcome, sort of thing. And I think it's good. I think this is going to be good for us to work with for the business marketing, because there's a lot of companies out there, I think, that and charities on the island that could do with that help in branding and getting a certain image out there with a certain, like I've seen some of the videos you've done, and there's a certain way. I've played around with them, but there's an art in it. There's an art to writing, so coming up with that story and brand and that hook. So it's interesting, because we have got some networking meetings at Sheppey Business Network that we want to try and pin down. So we was talking the other day, and I woke up this morning at like 2:30, and I've wrote down my my elevator pitch we talked about for the networking.
I've done that before.
But I do that. I'm an early bird anyway. And this morning I sort of sat down and I thought, it took me quite a while, and I timed it. And I think it took me. I looked online. It said between 20 and 30 seconds should be your elevator pitch. And I think I did it in about 26 seconds. But that process of coming up and fine tuning it down so it sounds snappy and says, because my writing, I'll just blurt stuff out. My wife's like, you've just thrown up a load of words. It doesn't make sense. And then it takes, so there's art in forming the content, in what they should say on the video. There's the art of capturing the video.
There's so many elements to it. There's the technical, there is the delivery, the locations, the colours that you're using, the sounds that you use, the music. Yeah, so much can make a video feel unique, and it's about thinking about what things are going to match to reflect this person's brand, because we're working with a colour palette, a logo, that design, and we have to take all of these visual and audio elements to put together to be able to have someone recognise that in a video.
And this is where someone said to me once, when you've written a book, you're halfway there, because selling a book is the other half.
Yeah.
So this is what brings me on. It's the same with us on the YouTube channel with Simply Sheppey. There's doing the podcasts to a certain standard where we don't swear, and they've got they've got certain elements around them, and then there's getting it out there, and this is where it is only part of the process, because you can come up with a great video that no one sees.
Yeah.
And then there's the art in again now. There's some hoping with, and so anyone that's got businesses on the island, if you haven't connected yet with Sheppey Business Network, then join up down there where guys like Nikita and us are down there using the space and are going to be connecting and marketing, because this moves on to the future, like your ask of Sheppey and working with people. What's your ideal next 5 or 10 years going to look like, and involving, because you're keen to work with companies on the island? And
yeah, definitely. I'd love to see Sheppey grow. I mean, it is growing residentially, but it would be, and especially since COVID, people had changed their businesses around a lot. They quit their job and they started a business. So I think there must be so many business owners than there used to be before, and there's more people moving to the island as well.
it's not just business owners. So there's some people down at the Island Works that are working from home.
Mm-hmm.
So they work for a company, but they use that space to work in rather than working from home. And my wife's one, we went down to the craft market, and she was like, I'm going to come and work from here rather than working from home, because it's just structured. You're away, it's more professional,
Yeah.
and you don't get caught up with watching TV or putting a load of washing on or answering the phone. So there's those people that are down there as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's, I think, the other thing is the artists and the creatives.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realise it's such a big. There's such a lot of them on the island.
Yeah, and it's just about having those spaces, which we've only got till the second half of this year, where we have a place finally, and it's it's not just for the island, but people from Swale and areas of Sittingbourne can come and work from this co-working space, because there's not many in Medway. So I think
And not that
places and I think there's not as amazing as the building as what we've got, but I would just love to see a proper, real strong community, and maybe even online, one place where people can connect and everyone knows each other, and it's not, because there's lots of Facebook groups of like business, but they're not used and they're just spams being posted on there. So I think just one thing is a directory. Everyone is listed on there. Regular meetings, events that involve people meeting up and doing something. Everyone gets involved in doing something for charity on the island, or networking. There's so many events that could happen, because there's so many things to do here as well.
Yeah, well, I think we definitely, Paul from Sheppey Business Network has agreed. We've got a meeting, I think it's next week, and to start setting some dates for the official sort of networking days once a month. And I think what we're going to start doing is creating in between then these workshops, because there's an element of networking that's good. I know you do a lot of that for your business, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's an element of business development, of like knowing stuff you don't know, and that's where there's an element of people with they could create a video themselves, but who do they send it to? Where do they put it? How do they publish it?
Yeah.
There's that knowing stuff that we can collectively come together and help create from aspects from marketing, but also HR, all those aspects there that I think if we can get a
other
nest
areas of
people,
business support.
That bookkeepers, those sort of people down there. So in terms of helping and developing Sheppey, so you're going to come on the podcast and be a host and host History on Sheppey, or
I would. I could. I mean, I'm a massive fan. That would be very exciting.
We are looking for hosts, and specifically History of Sheppey, to come on and do podcasts. So that's an interest you've got as well, isn't it?
Oh
history?
yeah, I've always been interested in local history. I think it started from Google Maps, where you can go on Street View, go back in time. And I don't know why, I'm just really into the history of buildings in particular, and how the landscape's completely changed on Sheppey. But also the general history as well. We've got some really cool information, bits of history with Charles Dickens. I think Henry VIII came down to stay in that manor house. We've got the Queen Sexburger and things that. So we've got rich history on the islands. Yeah.
So this is one of these things, Lee, you've got to jump in here for the video, because we've got we started doing the Sheppey Light Railway, and they've started cutting through. And one of the hopes is that we actually create some funding where we can get you guys to start documenting some of the stuff that's getting developed and done on there. So, yeah, good. So is there anything else you want to ask of people on Sheppey? So who would you like to work with that are out there, ideally?
So I don't have any preference in terms of what type of business they are, what industry, but I think I'm always happy to help people with consulting on video content, but what I would love for me at this stage of my business is to work with people who have got good digital marketing and marketing in place, kind of what we was talking about earlier with their branding. I'm always happy to help, and then if they want to bring in people that I know that can help build that, then that would be great. But yeah, anyone that's just looking to implement video into their business, whether that is for the social media or they want to create some evergreen content to go on their website, then that's the kind of people I want to talk to.
Yeah, so that would be like an intro video, something to showcase what they're doing that they can post once a week, once a month, or put on their website for people to understand what they do.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else you want to ask us, Sheppey?
I don't know. What shall I ask about Sheppey?
But I think people coming through the Sheppey Business Network, hopefully we can try and create a travelator of business development in the marketing sector. So people that aren't, the different elements of printers. I've got people that do graphic design, so people that can come and start establishing that good the graphic, the marketing element of it. So they've got that structure there, and then along the way, at some point, you'll pick them up with taking that and creating the videos to market. But I think it is this process of getting to a stage. For me, the marketing ends with a connection. So once you've got someone on the phone, that's where we go from. For me, it goes from attract and connect into connect and enroll and get them to understand what I do. And that point of a connection, I think, is where the marketing stops and the sort of sales or that service starts.
Yeah.
But it's a big step, that marketing in getting people used to your brand, understand exactly what you do, and then
and it takes time as well.
Yeah. So you're quite happy if people give you a ring and connect.
Absolutely.
And ask about what you do.
Yeah.
And if they want to catch you, there's links in the description. And you're at Island Works a couple of days, 3 days a week?
Yeah, 3 days a week, yeah.
And they can see you at the Sheppey Business Network.
Yes.
We don't know when it is yet, but it'll be monthly. Good.
Absolutely, yeah. Just come to Sheppey. There's going to be some exciting things happening on the island for businesses.
Lovely. Well, cheers for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.